Hey, good evening, everyone. Grant Cohn here. Just got back from work. You can see it on my wrist. They don't know me. They give me a little thing to make sure that I'm accounted for anywhere I'm back. And if you saw what happened today, me and Kyle Shanahan got into it in the press conference. We got into it. No, I love Kyle Shanahan. I really like asking him questions. I don't know how he feels about me. Maybe he likes me, maybe not. But look, you wanted someone to ask about Jordan Mason. Raise your hand if you wanted someone to ask about Jordan Mason. I don't understand why no one ever asks about him. He's averaging 5.6 yards per carry. He hasn't had a carry in 3 games. So I asked. I went up to Kyle and I said, this was in the press conference today. I couldn't help myself. Hold on. Let me get it. I said, Jordan Mason hasn't had any carries in 3 weeks. He's averaging 5.6 yards per carry. What does he need to do to get back in the mix and earn your trust? And he goes, why would that be an issue? Kyle's trying to buy time and upset when he answers a question with a question. I don't know. I say, I don't know. I guess it's confusing for a running back who's been so efficient to fall out of the mix. I was wondering what he would need to do to get back in. Kyle says 2 guys in front of him would have to get hurt to get more there. There's 3 of them. You're implying that I don't trust him or something. That's what I heard in the question. So I'm trying to figure out exactly what your question is. So I said, why would you give Elijah Mitchell the carries over Mason when Mitchell's averaging 2.4 yards per carry? Kyle said, we look at more than stats. Mitchell's our number 2 back. He's done some pretty good things here. And JP's R3. He's been R2 at times, but it's how most cases are in the NFL. So, all right. He said they look at more than stats. I got an answer out of him. Why is Elijah Mitchell playing over Jordan Mason? Oh, because stats don't matter. Yards per carry, that's overrated. So Mitchell at 5.6 yards per carry and Mason at 5.6 yards per carry and Mitchell at 2.4 doesn't matter. Mitchell's better, even though Mason doubles his output every time he carries the ball. Doesn't matter because there are other things that matter for a running back other than yards per carry. And when pressed, Kyle said Mitchell's done some pretty good things. What did he say in the past? What did he say? He's done some pretty good things here. He has done some pretty good. That's true. So Mitchell is the number 2 back because he has done some pretty good things for the 49ers. That's true. He hasn't done any good things for him this year, while Mason has. But hey, Mitchell used to be really good. And so that's why he's above Mason in the pecking order, even though Mason is really good. The fact that Mitchell used to be really good trumps the fact that Mason currently is really good. And that's why essentially Kyle tried to answer my question and say Mason isn't getting carries because Mitchell's the number 2 back. The question is why? Oh, because Mitchell used to be good. So nostalgia. It's like, why did you buy the new Nas record? Because he used to be good. Okay. How long ago? What did you think this record was going to sound like? You didn't think it was going to sound like 50-year-old Nas, but because it is. I'm just saying, like, Elijah Mitchell is like 50-year-old Nas at this point. Voice kind of creaky. It's just not the same. So, Kyle, I know that you're still listening to the same Lil Wayne mixtape from 2007, but you got to get with the times and notice that Jordan Mason is your number 2 running back. There's no reason to have Elijah Mitchell as your number 2 running back. Also, you don't even really use your number 2 running back anyway. Last year, what you would do is you'd get an early lead with Christian McCaffrey and then hammer the lead home with Jordan Mason or Elijah Mitchell, one of the 2, as a closer. You don't do that anymore. Why? Does Christian McCaffrey not allow you to? Is it not? Did he put the kibosh on that? Say, hey, Kyle, I want the carries. I don't know. That's my question. Anyway, I thought Kyle, at least he gave an answer. The answer is Mitchell has done some good things for the Niners. So he got grandfathered into the number 2 running back spot this year because he was good in the past. Hey, man, why don't we bring back Richard Sherman? He's done some good things for the Niners. So is, Ronnie Lott. Ronnie Lott did some great things for the Niners. How about bring him back? All the players who have done some good things for the Niners should start for him, regardless of what they've done in 2023. I think he got snarky with me because he knew I had him. There's no good reason to play Elijah Mitchell over Jordan Mason. There's no way I could have phrased that question. Obviously, it's a question to trust. You play Elijah Mitchell over Jordan Mason because you trust Elijah Mitchell. Straight up. You trust Elijah Mitchell to not fumble the ball while he's getting those 2.5 yards on the ground. Fair. Just say it. You don't trust Jordan Mason because he fumbled a few times in training camp and in the preseason. And Elijah Mitchell has literally never fumbled in college or the pros. Just say it. It's a reason. And I do think it's about trust. Otherwise, okay, so maybe Jordan Mason doesn't know the offense as well as Elijah Mitchell. Or maybe when he doesn't have the ball, he's not as good as... what does Elijah Mitchell do when he doesn't have the ball? Does he ever catch a pass? Seems to me if you have a running back averaging 5.6 yards per carry, 5.9 for his career, man, even though everyone knows he's getting the ball, he's still averaging like almost 6 yards a carry. So good things happen when you hand him the ball. Maybe you give it to him 5-10 times a game. Good things happen. What's the problem? How are we overthinking this one here? Good things don't happen when you give Elijah Mitchell the ball. All you can say is, oh, wow, he didn't fumble again. Great. Anyway, I thought it was a good question. And when Kyle gets a little flabbergasted like that, I would call that flabbergast. That's what flabbergast looks like, sounds like. It's probably because he didn't see the question coming, which to me is probably a failure on us, the beat writers. Like 3 weeks in a row, Jordan Mason doesn't get a touch and no one asks. And then Kyle asked like it was an inappropriate question. I thought it was an appropriate question. Quite appropriate. Rodriguez, he knows what I'm talking about. New member. Mad Gamer says, Grant, thank you for asking that question. The fan base deserves to know why JP hasn't been used. Keep asking the tough questions. I will. And I think Kyle feels like, if I give him that kind of awkward response, Grant won't ask questions like that. But I think it's a good response. I mean, it's like dramatic and it gives you a peek into Kyle Shanahan's emotions and psyche more than a professional dry answer would that you get from John Lynch. Ivan Tina says, you asked a fair question. He acted like a petulant child. He said Mason has done good things here. Okay, but he ain't doing them now. You mean Mitchell? I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so nostalgia is the reason? Drewish guy says, great question. Loved it. Were you more scared of Kyle's stare or when Kinlaw knocked your head off? Man, I get that stare from Kyle every day. So Kinlaw. Austin says Mason is going to be so good on a different team. I feel like a lot of teams could use him, would love to have him. Some news that Kyle Shanahan shared today. Sounds like the Niners are going to or are considering signing Jason Verrett to the practice squad this weekend, which is interesting. He was on the Houston Texans practice squad. D'Amico Ryans worked with them. And now I guess he's not. And he's going to come to the... It seems to me that he's not quite ready. He tore his Achilles last year. He tore his ACL the year before that. I think he's torn his Achilles twice. I think he torn his ACL twice. He needs some... It seems like he probably needs some more time. But maybe the Niners feel like, hey, get him on our practice squad now. Maybe he'll be someone we can use in the playoffs. Whereas maybe the Texans are thinking, we can't necessarily guarantee that we're going to be in the playoffs this year. And maybe Jason, I don't know. But maybe the Niners are interested because they talked to D'Amico Ryans. Maybe Kyle called him and D'Amico said, look, I think there's a chance. And maybe he'd be a better fit for you guys since you guys are a little bit more established. And you need a cornerback. Big time. So I don't know. I'm looking at this as something that could possibly pay off in the playoffs. But most likely not at all. Maybe they bring back Jason Verrett next year. Maybe this is all just lead up to next year. Does kind of seem like his body might be done, but I don't know. It's an interesting idea. I think what would be, before they do that, they really have to give Samuel Womack and Darrell Luter Jr. looks at cornerback or see if Ambry Thomas can keep it up. They gave Isaiah Oliver a half-season audition. He failed. Enough. The reviews are in and they're not good. Ambry, I think you deserve another game, although this week's going to be really, 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 really tough for you. Jason Verrett is nice. I mean, but it's like, if you're going to bring in Jason Verrett for a workout, you might as well bring in Richard Sherman too. Might as well. But good luck to Jason Verrett. My best guess is that they do sign him this weekend and he never plays it down for them ever again. But if he does and he steps up in the playoffs, God love him. Shane says, as a faithful, this is why I have little faith this guy will win the Super Bowl. He's an arrogant jerk who won't get out of his way. His tragic flaw, Grant, great and fair question. We were all wondering. I don't root for the 49ers. I'm not betting on him to win the Super Bowl. I didn't take it personally what he did today. I quite enjoy ruffling his feathers with fair questions, and I had a feeling I would with that one. I didn't mean to like question. I mean, I felt like, what does he have to do to earn your trust? Like, isn't it implied? Averaging 5.6 yards per carry, but you won't play him. There must be a trust issue, right? You don't trust him to block. You don't trust him to execute his non-rushing assignments. What other reason could there be to not play a running back averaging 5.6 yards per carry? There must be some level of not, you don't trust him like you trust Mitchell. Okay. Because Mitchell's done some good things here. Another thing. I asked Kyle Shanahan about Baker Mayfield. I like asking Kyle about quarterbacks that he's facing because he really will reveal his feelings, what he thinks about him. Last week, I asked about Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if I asked, someone asked. Kyle's response was tepid. He basically said he's talented. He said he's tall. It was so funny. When you hear Kyle talk about a quarterback's talent, you know he doesn't like him. He's tall, strong arm, and he can run around, create plays off schedule. I was thinking, oh, you don't respect him at all. Then Nick Bosa said the game plan was to make Trevor Lawrence play quarterback and take away the quick game. I was like, oh, yeah, they don't respect Trevor. Then I watched Trevor play against the Niners, and I was like, I see exactly why Kyle Shanahan and the Niners don't respect Trevor Lawrence because, like, honestly, that is who he is. He's not particularly refined. He's talented. And Kyle doesn't seem to respect talented quarterbacks. He respects refined quarterbacks. So I asked Kyle about Baker Mayfield. Here's what he said. You mentioned the other day that you respect, this is what I said. You mentioned the other day that you respect Baker Mayfield and the way he plays quarterback. What specifically about him do you like? Here's what Kyle said. And this is after he snapped at me. I maybe snapped is too much. And this just shows you that he can do business. He just gets defensive. But you ask a question like this, and he's like, all right, this is a fair question. I'll answer it. Just watching how he plays, Kyle said. You watched him last week. I mean, how decisive he was, how he gets rid of the ball. Every time they had the right look on that. He had zero hesitation when he had the wrong look. He didn't hesitate. He progressed and didn't sit there and wait on some bad things. He's been getting rid of the ball as fast as anyone in this league, not taking sacks. I think he only has 4 turnovers when he also is not scared to let it go at all. He can throw that ball. He can take 3 hitches and throw it late 60 yards down the field. He also has a knack for making plays with his legs. To me, that's real praise coming from Kyle. Decisive. He never said that about Trevor Lawrence. And frankly, I didn't think Trevor Lawrence was decisive. He took a lot of sacks last week because he held on to the ball. It seems to me Kyle's saying Baker's different. Baker was a number 1 pick, but not because he's tall. He actually is decisive, and he's not turning the ball over. He says he can throw it. He says he can throw that ball. He can take 3 hitches and throw it 60 yards down the field. Have you ever heard him say that about Brock Purdy? Have you ever heard him say he can throw that ball? He can take 3 hitches and throw it late 60 yards down the field. No, that is real admiration. That is a coach who I think probably thinks the opposing team has the superior quarterback this week. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like he thinks Baker Mayfield is Brock Purdy plus. You can say that Brock Purdy's decisive. He is. But he can't throw that ball like Baker Mayfield. So it's interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if Baker Mayfield's on the 49ers someday. That's kind of what I got from this. Like, they got Sam Darnold, but it sounds like Kyle prefers Baker Mayfield. And if Mayfield bounces around and accepts his role as a backup someday, he could be Brock Purdy's backup. Or he could just be the starter one day. That sounds like real admiration and praise. I don't know. A little scary. But think about it this way. Let's say the Niners had Baker Mayfield and the Bucks had Brock Purdy. Who'd win? Would the betting line even move? I think the Niners would win. And I don't think the betting line would move. I think if you put Brock Purdy on the Bucks with no run game and no Kyle Shanahan, and his job was to throw it downfield to Mike Evans, he'd have a tough time. Like, I don't think that Brock Purdy could go to the Bucks and do what Baker Mayfield's doing. I do think that Baker Mayfield could come to the 49ers and do what Brock's doing. check it down to Christian McCaffrey, check it down to Deebo Samuel, and occasionally hit the schemed up downfield throw that Kyle Shanahan created. Make some plays. Don't turn the ball off. Anyway, it's always interesting to see who Kyle respects and doesn't at quarterback. We know he respects Kirk Cousins. We gathered that he doesn't respect Trevor Lawrence. I think he respects Baker Mayfield. Maybe that's going to play into this game. Maybe that's going to play into their game plans. Let's talk about Kyle Shanahan's game plan in this game offensively. For the second week in a row, he's facing a defense that is absolutely nails against the run. Jacksonville, Tampa, two teams you really can't run against. Tampa has his Vita Vea, who's one of the best defensive tackles in the league. He's like Haloti Ngata when I was a kid. He's just can't move him. Huge and moves extremely well. So Kyle's not stupid. We saw what he did last week against a defense that wants to stop the run and is better at stopping the run than rushing the quarterback. Kyle passed. A lot of quick passes. And I would expect to see that again. You could do a lot of what you did last week and it should work. This pass rush of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is okay. They got Shaq Barrett, Vita Vea. Neither one has 5 sacks. So it's okay. But you can negate, like Vita Vea is not going to have quick win sacks. Maybe Shaq Barrett will. But you can negate a lot of that pressure just with quick throws. Now, the Bucs, at least the Bucs I remember, play a lot of man-to-man coverage with Todd Bowles. They blitz a lot. They play a lot of man-to-man coverage. So it'll be interesting to see. Kyle Shanahan is going to have a lot of like quick throws to beat the blitz. Well, that's why you got Christian McCaffrey. That's why you got Deebo Samuel. It seems like this is another game where Christian McCaffrey gets 10 targets. You don't need to give Christian McCaffrey 25 carries running against this team because it's not the most efficient use of him against this defense. Throw him the ball. Another game. This should be a screen game. Kyle Shanahan's good with screens. He could be better. You have the best screen running back in the league. Throw it to him, man. I keep thinking, like, what would Bill Walsh do with Christian McCaffrey? He wouldn't use him like Kyle used him. Kyle tries to use Christian McCaffrey like he's Terrell Davis. Like he's his dad's running back from the late 90s and just give him, 25 carries a game, get him to 2,000 yards and win the Super Bowl that way. That's not him. If Bill Walsh were the coach, they'd be throwing it to him left and right. He'd have 80, 90, 100 catches a year. Same if Andy Reid were the coach. So I'd like to see Kyle channel his inner Andy Reid this week. I'd like to see that because the Bucs, that's a team, they can't run the ball, but they do throw to their running back, Rachaad White, a lot. So it could be a little bit of a screen contest. I'd like to see Shanahan with the screen game. Another 10 targets for Christian McCaffrey. It worked last week. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's talk Steve Wilks' game plan. Steve Wilks can't necessarily do what he did last week. Kyle can do what he did last week. Steve Wilks has a lot of decisions to make. Last week, he looked at it. He's like, all right, I don't respect Calvin Ridley. I'm not that scared of Christian Kirk. Their wide receivers are good, not great. And their offensive line is trash. And their whole offensive scheme is quick throws. So I'm going to play aggressive man-to-man coverage and not worry about getting beat deep because they don't have the wide receivers to beat me deep and they don't have the offensive line to beat me deep. They do have a quarterback with the arm to get it down there, but he is not going to have the time or the receivers. He was right. Wilks. He was right. He duped it out. He gave up 3 points and got 4 turnovers. This is a different week. Now you're going against an offense that has a good offensive line that doesn't give up a ton of sacks. Tristan Wirfs a right tackle, great player. A quarterback who's more decisive than Trevor Lawrence, gets the ball out quicker. And a wide receiver, Mike Evans, who is one of the best in the league, always has been one of the best in the league since he's been in the league last 10 years. And he is a legit outside downfield threat. So it's a whole different equation. Last week, Wilks wasn't worried about those wide receivers. This week, you're terrified of Mike Evans, especially against Ambry Thomas or anyone, even Charvarius Ward, terrified. At best, you're thinking that's a pass interference penalty. And then 2, you can't just say, well, in the pass rush will be on Baker so fast that he won't be able to get the ball downfield to Mike Evans. Not necessarily. They have a much better offensive line than Jacksonville did. So I want to see what Steve Wilks does. Is he going to be as aggressive as he was last week? Or is he going to look at the matchups and say, I can't do that? I can't play press man coverage against Mike Evans with Ambry Thomas or even Travarius Ward. I can't do it. I'm going to play soft zone coverage and force Baker Mayfield to check the ball down. And if that's the case, I don't know. Maybe it'll win. Maybe that will work against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But it seems to me that when he plays soft zone coverage because he doesn't think his cornerbacks can match up with the opposing wide receivers, then his pass rush becomes non-existent and the Niners lose. If they don't sack Baker Mayfield, if they only get to him one or two times, that to me sounds like Steve Wilks played too conservative in the secondary and short-circuited his own pass rush and gave Mike Evans a lot of opportunities to go down the field. And again, if he's throwing down the field to Mike Evans, he doesn't have to catch the ball to hurt the Niners. Illegal contact is an automatic first down. Pass interference is a spot penalty, spot of the foul. How many of those is Steve Wilks going to give up before he gets scared and starts calling soft zone and just lets Baker Mayfield dink and dunk them to victory? I don't know. Steve Wilks has a tough decision to make. What would you do in his position? Would you say, yeah, let's play press? I got Ambry, I got Travarius Ward, I got Diamador Lenore. I don't give a damn about Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Let's go. Okay. Well, if your pass rush is just dominating, then yeah, do that. But Tristan Wirfs is pretty good. I don't know. We'll have to see what Steve Wilks does. Let's play Prize Picks. Hold on, but we got to make it real official. I love playing Prize Picks, and I feel like I don't spend enough time playing Prize Picks. So let's, boom. Those are the picks. I want to look in the comment section. I need your help. Let's do this together. All right. First one. Brock Purdy, 1.5 passing touchdowns, more than or less than, against Tampa. To me, again, I'm thinking Kyle Shanahan's game plan is pass heavy. Thinking this is a game where this is a team, the Bucs, that can really keep McCaffrey out of the end zone, at least on the ground. So if the Niners are going to score, and I think a lot of people think they will, they're going to be passing. And this Bucs defense has given up the 8th fewest points in the league. Man, that's interesting. I'm saying more. I'm going more. I know you guys want more too. Okay, Purdy. Here's an interesting one. How about 7.5 rushing yards for Brock Purdy, more than or less than? I'm inclined to say more than. This is a defense that's going to play a lot of man-to-man coverage, which is not, he's better against zone. Against man, his completion percentage is like 10%, 10 points lower. And what he does is he either forces balls into coverage and gets picked sometimes, or he scrambles. I feel like this is a week where he could be scrambling a lot. I think last time he faced Tampa, he scrambled and broke his ribs. I don't know if he scrambled after that, but I think he's going to be a scrambling man in this game. Christian McCaffrey, rush TDs, half. I'm inclined to say less than for the second week in a row. What do you guys think? Christian McCaffrey, less than half a touchdown. If you guys all disagree with me, I'm going to go with you guys. But to me, I'm thinking it's a really good run defense. But he's had like, everyone says more. I'm going to go less, unless you guys all think I should do more. More? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. That's fair. How about, Deebo Samuel, 12.5 rushing yards. That to me feels like an easy one. Deebo Samuel. Guy, if you guys want to play, remember, use the link in the description, promo code COHN. 100% deposit match up to $100. Use code COHN. It's right there. I think I'm going over for this one too. More. Let's see. Ooh, George Kittle. Here's a good one. 3.5 receptions for George Kittle, more than or less than. That's a tough one. He usually gets about 3 or 4. 3 or 4. At home against Tampa. He's got another game in a few days. They could pace him. I'm saying he's a little bit older. They're going to need him. He's going to want to go. He's going to factor in big in Thursday night, Thanksgiving. It's going to be big George Kittle day. He's scoring a touchdown in Seattle. So 5 days before then, at home against Tampa. Hold on. Someone said to take the Bosa bet. I don't want the Bosa bet. I want the Kittle bet. I'm going less for Kittle, just to be crazy. And then I want to get one person from I want to get Baker, Buccaneers. No, I want to get Mike Evans. Where you at, Mike? Mike Evans, 56.5 receiving yards. Please. Are you kidding? Mike Evans? I'm going more. 56.5. I'm locking it in. I'll go through my picks right now. It's just easy. I love playing prize picks, man. It's just easy. Brock Purdy, more than 1.5 pass TDs. Brock Purdy, more than 7.5 rush yards. Christian McCaffrey, more than half a rush TD. Deebo Samuel, more than 12.5 rush yards. George Kittle, less than 3.5 receptions. And Mike Evans, more than 56.5 receiving yards. If I get all those correct, which I will, I win $500 on it. You know what? How about this? 40. Putting $40 down, and if I get it right, $1,000 goes to me. Placing the entry. Boom. Oh no. What? It can't contain more than one touchdown. We're learning. Okay. All right. That just gives us, let's go back to Bosa then. That just means we're not done playing prize picks, and I like that. Bosa, 7.5. Yeah. 3/4 of a second. I'm going more. It's a big Bosa game. More. There it is. No, can I pick the same play? Who did I pick twice? I'm terrible at prize picks. Kittle, Deebo, Brock Purdy. Okay. I like the Brock Purdy rushing stats. So let's do that one instead. And then let's see who else we got. Dre Greenlaw, that's random. Fred Warner. Jawan Jennings. How about this one? Jawan Jennings, 16.5 receiving yards. What do you guys think? I'm thinking less. 16.5 for Jawan Jennings. I'm going less. What do you got? I think he's going to get one catch for 9 yards. Or none. I think Ronnie Bell should be the Niners slot receiver. I know that Jawan Jennings is a good blocker, but I feel like Ronnie Bell's better at, running and getting open and catching passes. Less. Boom. Give me that. Yeah. I figured it out, guys. It's that easy on Prize Picks. Remember, use promo code COHN. Get that 100% deposit match up to $100. That means you put down 100, they put down 100. 50-50 thing, baby. 50-50 thing, baby. It's how it is. Thanks for watching. I got nothing else to talk about. Let's go through these super chats and I'm out. Speeding like a demon on 101 South. If you feel me. Hold on. Mark Mick says JV has done some good things in the past. He'll play. Smack Jones 919 says should have told him in that case bring Cat back as a backup. He did some things for this team, man. Jason is special team at best. Brooke says welcome to the club, Grant. Kyle dissed me too. What'd he say? I'm sorry. Drewish guy says is Metcalf going to steal Ward's confidence again next week and send us into a spiral? Metcalf, Brown, Metcalf. I haven't seen Ward's. I feel like Ward hasn't regained his confidence since that happened. Ivan Tina says, everybody wondering if Kyle can win games down in the fourth. I'm wondering if he can win up 28-3 or 20-10. Can one win one way, lose many ways? That's a good point. Ron says, I'm a little late, but I wanted to say, based on his response to you by saying you think I don't trust him, proves he watches your content. Well, he has good taste. Matthew Sanders says, another day, another Kyle Shanahan annoyed by GC press conference. You love it. Niners favored by 12. Wilk's got to be sleeping to lose. VF, new member. Adam K. Thanks for asking Kyle about Jordan Mason. He is hell-bent on running CMC to the ground. It's not even about CMC. It's about Elijah Mitchell. I don't get it. I can't begin to explain it. That's it. I'm done. Go have a great Friday night. It was a little quickie today. A little quickster. Oh, wait, hold on. Brooks, E40's 33rd album dropped today. No way. Is it good? I haven't really checked on E40 in a few years. I didn't really like that song Choices that much. That was his last big hit. You know, the one that was like, yup, nope. I just didn't like it. And I don't know why. But I like everything else. I'm going to have to listen to E40. I know that Andre 3000 came out with a new album today and has no lyrics. God, he's so pretentious. I'm sorry. I just loved, everyone loves Andre 3000, but like, man, I like rap too. And I feel like, to me, Andre's kind of annoying because like he decided that rap was beneath him. It's like, so like, what are you doing now, man? You made like the Love Below was just like a Prince knockoff record. Can we be honest? It was a Prince knockoff record. Speaker Box was better. Big Boy's solo career was way better than Andre's solo career, which really wasn't much of a solo career. Like, but you know what? Be true to yourself, man. You don't want to rap anymore, don't rap. That's all I can say. But I'm not listening to those ambient noises. I don't listen to ambient music. Sorry. I'm going to go listen to E40's 33rd album. Thank you for watching, everyone. I'm out. I'll be back tomorrow. See you then.